You know, when you're comfortable in life, when you have privilege, you have these fantastic ways of looking at life, creating grand and profound philosophies of life. But then it touches you as it touched the Job. And you realize that you spoke well, you thought well, but you did all these things well because you were looking at everything from a distance. You know, that's why I think talking about Daughter of Fire is fun, it's interesting, it can even be profound. You get a chance to compare and contrast this with other traditions. You kind of begin to fantasize about, I could be Bai Sahib, or I could be Irina Tweedy, or I think what's happening is comparable to my story. But then it begins to touch you deeply, and then you realize you're beginning to scream louder than Irina Tweedy. You know, Baba Tahir has this poem that this bird was singing this really, really sorrowful song because the fall had come and the roses were slowly dying. And his song was, you know, I have to wait for such a long time for the roses to come back. I'm so sad. And then there was a dervish sitting there. He looks at this bird and says, I don't really think you understand sadness. If you were really, 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 really sad, you wouldn't be able to sing anything. Your companion would be silence. And I think in many ways it's true, even though I don't like Martin Heidegger very much, despite all of his, fantastic ideas. When he was offered the position to become a professor at a certain school, he went to this farmer and said to him, I've been offered this position in this city, should I go? And he said the farmer just kept looking at his shoes, didn't say anything. And Heidegger says that was my answer. The farmer knew that city life is poisonous to the human spirit. A university job is a great position to have, but the meetings, the politics, the SLOs and the ILOs and the PLOs, the grading, the ridiculous things you have to do for your department, after a while you just forget why you're even there. It's like you spend all this time, you get a PhD in some ridiculous field, and then you're excited because somebody gave you a job. 2, 3, 4 years in it, you say, well, it's been fun, but I think I want to become the faculty senate president now, or maybe become a dean now, or become a vice president or a president or a chancellor. And then someone says to you, well, why the hell did you go to school in the first place? I thought you loved sociology. I don't know how true the story is, whether this is the last poem of Rumi or not, and whether Rumi was sick when he died, or he died peacefully in health, just closed his eyes and never woke up. That the poem Ro sar beneh be balin tanha mara raha kon, that supposedly his son goes to him and says, is there anything I can do for you? And he says to his son, go rest, let me be. There's a pain inside me that only death can remedy, no one else. Don't ask me if I want soup. Don't ask me if the clergy should come. Don't ask me if you should read the Quran for me. Don't give me any philosophical nonsense. Just leave me be. I have lived in this chaos for all these years. When you live in chaos, you're just alone in chaos. Eventually chaos becomes your only companion. And chaos is difficult because human beings desire stability, and chaos doesn't give you stability. Human beings want certainty. Chaos doesn't give you certainty. Human beings look for answers. Chaos only creates questions. Human beings are social animals. Chaos isolates and alienates you. And I suppose if you were to say that death, regardless of who's dying and how they're dying, is a creator of chaos, a lot of people, I suppose, get angry when they're dying, at least when they hear they're going to die. Someone who is somewhat mature like Rumi, he says, listen, I've been dying for a long, long time. I'm glad that at least it's here. That's what my mom's cousin always says. So Hussein, how are you doing? I've been praying for death. It just hasn't come. I don't know why. I've been waiting for it for about 35 years. I think in some ways, if you were to talk about this philosophically, one of the statements of Socrates, which was, Philosophy is there to only teach you one thing: how to die well. And I think if you were to examine that particular phrase, how to die well, you know the saying that you come naked and you go away naked. You're born naked and you will die naked. We are designed, we are wired to become attached to things, to like things, to love things, to become intimate with things. And then you fight to keep them. You fight not to lose them. You want to hang on to them. Other people come to grab them from you. You resent them for it. You become angry at them. I mean, these are the emotions that are generated because of attachment. And to die well, to some extent, means like being naked. So the tragedy of philosophy is that it counters everything about us that is natural. And I don't know if that's actually good for us to follow, if that's a good prescription for us, that you should study philosophy so you can die well. You know, if you look at emotions that come with regret, with anger, with jealousy, with envy, with greed, they all have to do with your physical body. These are like things you begin to wear, not so much on the outside but on the inside. They make up who you are, what's meaningful to you, for you, what is worth pursuing. And because there is no limit to greed, you're always going to pursue something, always. And there's a good chance most of your pursuits will remain incomplete. It's very difficult to kind of, near the end of your life, die peacefully because you have done so much and you've accomplished so little. And the lesson in philosophy is don't pursue anything. Nothing is really worth pursuing. And I suppose in many ways you could say that most of us die a very tragic death, because to die well you have to know how to live well. And to live well you have to examine things. And when you examine, you realize there are not very many things out there worth pursuing.